Hi, Taylor T. Carlson, and I'm back with another vinyl video for you. I've been getting a lot of hauls of old used vinyl records at a lot of the shops here in town. Two of my favorite, of course, are Record City, which has two stores in town. I mainly go to the one on East Charleston where my buddy Joey works, and then the other store that I go to a lot is Moondog Records, which is run by Clint McKeon, and that's quickly become one of my favorite stores over the last few years as well. They actually just moved over to a spot on South Decatur next to Arizona Charlie's a few years back. They used to be over across from the university. Anyway, I've got a pretty sizable haul here today, so I'm just going to go through the releases, maybe do a little bit of light unboxing, and you can get an idea of what I picked up. I'll start off with the releases I got from Joey over at Record City during my last visit there. I'm going to start off with the one and only newer release that I got during my visit there. This is Green Day, Father of All. I just did an unboxing for the vinyl reissue of the Kerplunk album a little while ago, and this is the latest effort from the band. This came out, I think, back in like February or March. Here's the back cover. I swear, these guys do not age. I mean, they look exactly the same now as they did when Dookie came out like almost 30 years ago. And let's take a look inside. The actual record itself is just in a plain white sleeve, and it's just a plain black vinyl record on the inside. Same artwork on both sides. And there's an insert here. This has the obligatory lyrics on this side. And then here you got a nifty little black and white photo of the band. I've given this album a few listens, and I'm honestly not quite sure how I feel about it. This is more of a return to the experimental garage rock style they did with the Foxborough Hot Tub side project, as well as the Dos album that came out as part of the Uno, Dos, Tre trilogy a few years ago. Moving on to vintage releases now. One of my favorite classic rock groups, Electric Light Orchestra, or ELO for short. This is On the Third Day, which is appropriately their third album. Great photo of this old classic lineup of the band there. Got your track list on the back. Obviously, this record's a little worn on the outside. This part down here was like, had some bite marks, almost like a dog got to it, but I just cut those off with a pair of scissors to make it look a little more even. Some great tunes on here. They show off their symphonic side as well as their more pop-oriented side. They do their own little take on the classical piece in the Hall of the Mountain King. That's one of my favorite things they did, as well as Daybreaker, another great instrumental, and Ma 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 Belle, great rock pop song, which even features a special guest appearance from T-Rex's Mark Bolan on guitar. I don't believe he's actually credited on the release, and no other inserts inside of this one, so nothing else I can really show off there. Next up was ELO's fourth album. This is called El Dorado. I love this Wizard of Oz style cover artwork here, and definitely one of my favorites from the band. And this one will always be remembered for the pop hit Can't Get It Out of My Head, which was later covered by the alternative hard rock group Velvet Revolver. And again, no special inserts in this one, so not really anything I can show off here, but another great ELO record. And then when it comes to looking for used vinyl, I always got to look for one of my favorite bands, and that's Blue Oyster Cult. This is the Spectres album from 1977. They had to do a follow-up to Agents of Fortune, the album that featured Don't Fear the Reaper, which was quite possibly their biggest album on account of that song. And this is what they came up with. It's always going to forever be known as the album that had the song Godzilla on it. But then it's also got some other great tunes like Are You Ready to Rock, Nosferatu, I Love the Night, and Golden Age of Leather. I absolutely love Blue Oyster Cult. It's like no two albums of theirs are ever exactly the same. And they've even got a brand new album, like their first in almost 20 years, coming out, I believe, next month. So I'll probably be doing some coverage on that when the time comes. Inside, you got their old question mark cross logo. I don't even know if that's right side up or if this is right side up. I mean, who knows? And it's just the same on both sides there. Plain old black records, so I don't think I really need to show off anything there. Yeah, pretty much the basic red Columbia Records sticker on there. And got one more from Blue Oyster Cult as well. This is Fire of Unknown Origin, produced by the late, great Martin Birch, who we just lost a few months ago. He was best known for being Iron Maiden's producer, but he did 2 of BOC's albums, 2 of their strongest albums. He also produced Cultosaurus Erectus, which was the record that came out before this. This one will forever be known as the album that had Burnin' For You, probably their second biggest hit, behind only Don't Fear the Reaper. But then there's a lot of other great underrated tunes on here, like Joan Crawford, probably in my top 5 favorite BOC songs. And then you've also got things like Veteran of the Psychic Wars, which was co-written by science fiction author Michael Moorcock, who co-wrote 3 songs with them. And got our insert in here. Nice little piece of artwork right there. On this side, this is pretty cool. You've got a directory of all their albums that were released up to this time. Several of these I have in my collection, but there's several that I still need to add. I definitely need to get a vinyl copy of the first album, as well as the live On Your Feet or On Your Knees. I just showed you guys Spectres. I got these 2 as well. Got Agents of Fortune. I actually got my Agents of Fortune autographed by Buck Dharma and Eric Bloom when I met them back in 2011, I believe. And then I also need to get Cultosaurus Erectus and Some Enchanted Evening. I do have Mirrors. I actually just got that from my friend Lynn. I think I showed that off in my last record haul that I did on here. And that does it for the stuff that I got from Record City. I'm going to move on to the stuff I got from Clint over at Moondog now. Great store that has a lot of, obscure finds and tough stuff to come upon. First thing I got was this, Deep Purple, The House of Blue Light. This was their second album that reunited the classic Mark II lineup after the Perfect Strangers record, one of my favorites they ever did. This album is nowhere near the classic that Perfect Strangers was, but it's still a respectable album. Call of the Wild is probably the biggest hit that came from this record, and it's one that I still like to throw on, even if it's not necessarily one of their quintessential classics. Got some really bizarre, kitchen implement artwork on this side. I have no idea what the band was going for there. Lyric sheet on that side, and got the album titles just going in all sorts of weird different directions. Again, I have no idea what they were going for with that, but it's Deep Purple, so do you really need an explanation? And of course, rest in peace, John Lord, one of the greatest rock keyboardists of all time. Another great find over at Clint's place. This was Crocus, Headhunter. Probably the best known and most successful album from Crocus, with the possible exception of The Blitz, which was the follow-up. That was probably a bigger commercial hit, but in terms of straight-up hard rock prowess, you absolutely cannot do better than this record. This one actually even has the original sticker on the sleeve. Here's the back cover. The big hits on this one were the title cut, Headhunter, Screaming in the Night, Eat the Rich, and then there's Stayed Awake All Night, which is actually a Bachman Turner Overdrive cover that ended up being a pretty big hit. And here's some pictures of their previous releases. Not all of their previous releases, but I guess just the ones that were on the label. And then you got your credits down there. List of the tracks and the writers here. And there's even some special guests on this album, including Rob Halford from Judas Priest and Jimmy Jameson before he joined Survivor. So, some pretty cool names that guested on this album. Easily one of my favorite classic hard rock albums of all time. And this was produced by Tom Allom, who produced all of the Judas Priest albums that came out in the 80s, as well as one of my other favorite albums of all time right there, Def Leppard, On Through the Night. And the final thing I got from Clint's place, this is Accept, I'm a Rebel. Great classic hard rock out of Germany. A lot of people know these guys for their later 80s material, including songs like Balls to the Wall, London Leather Boys, Princess of the Dawn, Fast as a Shark, Restless and Wild. This is when they were young and first starting out. Curiously, this is a German pressing, and it doesn't have the title I'm a Rebel anywhere on here. It just says Accept. And great classic photo of the band now. Of course, guitarist Wolf Hoffman is the one original guy still in the band following the departure of Peter Baltus a few years ago. Got a great hairdo there, but he's completely bald nowadays. I've actually got a photo with him. I'll go ahead and share that. And got the track list right there. The ballad No Time to Lose is quite possibly my all-time favorite Accept song. And the title cut, I'm a Rebel, was actually written by the AC/DC camp, and they originally recorded the song but never released their version. There are no inserts of any kind in this. They actually had 2 copies of this album in there. One was a sealed pressing that was a double LP that split it across 2 records instead, but I went ahead and got this version because that's just my preference. I don't think I really needed the double album. A lot of people say that, like, sometimes you put less songs on sides of the record and you run them faster, they sound better, but, you know, I'm more of a casual listener. I'm a diehard fan of these bands, but I'm not a super audiophile, so what I got here I think works fine. Have you had a chance to go to your local record stores lately? Have you picked up anything new or interesting? Comment down below and let me know what you've got or what you think of these releases. Subscribe to my channel for more content and give this video a like if you found it helpful or interesting. I'm Taylor T. Carlson, and I'll be seeing you in my next video.